don't know who I'm talking to, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure who will ever hear this recording. I've woken up in the middle of a street. I know it's daytime, but I'm not sure what time exactly, as I cannot see the sun, and it appears as though my watch has stopped. I'm in a city, although I'm not sure which one. Tall buildings jut into the sky all around me, but they look more like stoic metal mountains rather than structures in which people live. A heavy mist has descended, the gray sky crashing down on the buildings. I'm not sure how far up these metal giants clamber as the cloud line intersects them not more than 7 stories up. It is raining faintly, and every so often I see the distant sky flicker with lightning, lighting up everything around me in this reflective haze, revealing the silhouettes of the massive structures making up this labyrinth. There appear to be no people around me, not a car in sight. The streetlights are dead, not flashing red or halted yellow. No light emits from them at all. I don't feel comfortable here. I've awoken with no memories, no explanation for this scene. All I have with me is this tape recorder, tightly held in my hand as I jolted awake to this world. There was also a video camera beside me, although it appears to be damaged and the lens is shattered. It doesn't look to have any batteries in it. The screen remains blank despite my attempts to view the footage. I'm wearing a dress suit, a very nice one that fits me well, solid black, save for the red tie. Even as I record this message, however, it is tarnishing and becoming sullied with rain. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I don't know what's going on. This place is eerily silent and empty. I'm approaching an intersection now. Perhaps I'll see some cars down some of the other streets. No. Those streets are vacant as well. Not even a piece of trash on the damp black asphalt. I cannot see very far in this weather, but I see no headlights of cars in any direction, and I can't imagine where all of the people have gone. Perhaps it's this weather. It feels as if this storm is only going to get worse, like something larger is approaching. I don't know why I'm talking into this thing. I guess I just need to hear a voice, even if it's my own. I think it's helping to calm my panic, but I'm sure I'll find something soon. I'm going to try some doors, look for a business that may be open. There have to be people huddled inside somewhere. I don't think I should go inside. Something is very wrong here. I've tried many doors, each and every one locked. All of these places look abandoned as well. There are items inside the stores. I looked into a coffee shop to see mugs still sitting atop the tables, steam no longer rising from the black substance inside. Something about the interiors of these buildings makes my skin shift and prickle with unease. Maybe it's a fine layer of dust that settled over everything, tinting any colors a dull gray. Maybe it's the way the businesses I've passed are all eerily silent. No life coming from the computer monitors, no beeping machines, or distracting flashes of colored lights. Maybe it's because, although the doors are locked and I can see no one inside, the dust on the floor is layered with footsteps. Maybe it's because these footsteps all end at the windows. as if there were once people inside, standing, looking out right where I'm looking in. I don't know what to do. I suppose I'll just have to keep walking. I've got to get out of this weather. Okay, it seems as if tornado sirens have booted up, but the wails seem eerie and distorted as the sound ricochets off the buildings both near and far. If I can maybe hold this up and record them. Registers on here. I suppose it doesn't really matter. The storm is really picking up, and I'm beginning to worry about the increasing wind. I have to find shelter fast. If only one of these doors was unlocked. I've stumbled past 2 hotels now, each one looking as vacant as the last. I knocked upon the glass of the front door trying to peer inside, and yet no one is at the counter. All I see are footprints, clustered around the inside, looking back out at me. I keep expecting to glance up from the prints to come eye to eye with a face, someone pressed against the glass, and yet there's no one there. It doesn't look as though there has been anyone in a long time. I saw a curtain move. I'm fairly certain of this fact. I took shelter inside a bus stop and simply waited in the driving rain. The mist spirals slowly around the buildings, trying to consume them from view. I've been staring at an apartment complex for quite some time now, probably an hour at least. No light emits from the windows, no movement visible inside. And yet I swear I saw it. In the highest window I could barely see, I saw the curtain flutter. An action so minute I wouldn't have noticed if it hadn't been the only movement I've seen for several hours. I don't know what caused the curtain to sway, but it was so out of place I felt my blood chill and my spine shiver as it caught my eye. By the way, I found it, the battery pack to the video camera. As I sat down on the bench, I felt it in my back pocket. I don't want to insert it now. The rain leaks through the roof, and I'm afraid to pull the camera out of my jacket and risk ruining it. I can't afford to lose what little evidence I have. I've watched the window for another hour now at least. It never happened again. Everything has remained eerily still. I'm starting to shiver in the rain now. I don't think it's because I'm cold. I don't actually feel any temperature at all. I'm just panicked and alone. I just wish I could hear someone else's voice, something to drown out these horrible sirens. The flashes of light have gotten brighter and more frequent. I'm beginning to hear thunder rumbling as well. It's just so incredibly hard. I saw something move again. Not the same window, but a different shop. I'm not entirely sure where it came from, but my peripherals caught rapid movement to my right, down a street with many windows and shops. I'm fairly positive it came from within one of those. I need to leave this bus stop. I need to find someone to help me, and it's not good shelter anyway. I'm standing up and walking towards the shops now. I'm going to put this away before I ruin it in the rain. There was no one in the shops. Not a soul anywhere in sight. The interiors looked just as dull as I had expected, just as lifeless and draped in dust. But one shop unnerved me more than the others, made me scared to peer inside. It was a music shop with a large display case, the glass streaking with water as the droplets whirled around me. Inside there was an old gramophone, the record still spinning on it. The droning music it creates, the way its moans are muffled by the glass, it all makes me nauseous with unease. Let me see if I can... I would play that back to see if it actually recorded, but I don't really want to listen to it again. I'm leaving this location. I'm not sure what my eyes saw, but it's clearly not here anymore. I'm just going to turn away from these shops and... I don't know how to describe what's happened. I turned away from the shops to see a pale form lying face down in the road, glowing dead white in the driving rain. I staggered back in shock before looking closer to see that dark red blood was slowly being washed down the road from the corpse, snaking and swirling in the water like serpents. It looked as though the man had just died minutes ago. I thought perhaps his collapsing was the movement I had seen. I slowly approached the man, unable to tell if he was still breathing or not. I took a knee next to his body and looked around nervously. There was still no one for what seemed like eternity all around me. Where had this man come from? I softly grabbed the man's body and tried to turn him over. It was at this point that I noticed his head. His skull is smashed into the pavement. It looks as if he broke his neck in a fall. As I tried to heave his body over to lie upright, his form began to flicker, his image fraying out of focus. My hands passed straight through, scraping across a wet pavement as it distorted. I pulled back in shock, watching his image violently split apart with distorted red smudges before shattering out of reality with loudly hissing static. Then it came back to focus slowly, shuddering with violent screeches. I touched it again, only to experience more of the same. I don't know what's happened here, and it concerns me that the only other person I've seen here is that corpse that seemed to come from nowhere. I've left where it was. It unnerves me and makes me sick. I'm now huddled under a shop awning, listening to the rain drive down in torrents. The storm has gotten far more intense. The sky has become a sickened black in the distance, and although I can't see much of anything in this haze, these tornado sirens are making me paranoid. I swear I can hear the roar of a nearing twister, and every dark gray smudge in the sky looks to be a funnel cloud headed straight for me. The mist is winding through the streets now. The cloud line has descended even further. Although the wind howls and shrieks in the distance above me, all is still eerily silent down here. The sound of the rain should be comforting, but it only makes me feel more alone. I'm beginning to feel more and more like I've been left behind, as if every occupant of the city has evacuated, leaving me alone to walk these streets as an ever-intensifying storm hurtles towards me. I've got to get out of here, or at least find some shelter. I think I don't feel cold or wet, despite how I should be both. Maybe I'm just too numb to feel anything right now. do. I've encountered another body. It is inside a convenience store. I can see the legs protruding out from behind a shelf. As with every door I've passed, I tried the handle, but this time, the door wasn't there. Well, it was, but as soon as I tried to pull the handle and my hand contacted the wet metal, it frayed out of existence just like the first body had. As I pulled back, it slowly refocused into view, gaining dimension and soon becoming absolutely lifelike again. Every time I try to touch it, though, the same thing happens. It's like I'm allowed to pass through this door, while all the others have locked me out. I'm not sure if it has something to do with the body inside, but I'm going to try walking through now. Let's see if this... Okay, I'm inside now. The door just dissolved as I walked past and has reformed behind me. This interior is different than the others. It doesn't seem as uninviting. I don't feel like I'm unwanted in here. Strange. Okay. The body is that of an old man. His form doesn't seem broken or twisted at all like the last corpse. It would seem as if he died of a heart attack or other internal injury. I barely noticed earlier that there were no footprints by the windows to this store, unlike the others I have passed. I didn't really pay it any mind until I saw where all of the footprints were gathered. They are all huddled around this man's body. I even see abrasions on the floor that make it look as though someone has been kneeling beside him. I want to see if this body is the same as the other. That body was not the same. As soon as my fingers grazed his form, the image began to fray just as the last one, but this time, instead of violently tearing apart with crimson slashes of static, the body simply became blurry and gradually disassociated with itself, disappearing from view. This time it appeared peaceful. And now I'm simply left staring at the empty ground. I think I'm beginning to understand my role here, and I don't think I like it. I hope I'm wrong. As soon as the body disappeared, I felt the room grow cold and oppressive, the first time I felt any temperature since I've awoken in this place. It chills me to my very core, and I feel as if the air of this room is crushing me. Like something horrible will happen if I stay here. I am no longer welcome. I must get out of here. I'm following someone's footsteps. I barely notice them in the rain. They look to be running fast. The weather is getting downright murderous. The sky is a diseased green. The rain claws at my face, and I'm watching lightning strike the buildings around me at a near constant pace. I've had to sprint to keep up with this running man, but strangely enough, I don't seem to tire. I'm going to put this away now and see where these footsteps lead me. No. I don't want this. I don't want to play this role. I can't do this. What have I done to deserve such a horrid fate? The footsteps I was following ran into an open area. No metal structures to attract the static in the air. I watched the splashes of the panicked footsteps, trying to make it through this dangerous area before a sudden, ear-splitting crack from the sky was preceded by a staggering explosion of blinding white. The lightning bolt tore through the mist and arced directly to where the footsteps were sprinting. I should have felt my skin blister with the heat. I should have been knocked unconscious by the raw power, and yet I stood, entirely unfazed. I wasn't even blinded by the flash feet from me. The water by the once running footsteps splashed and rippled as a man's unseen body slammed to the asphalt. As his heart stopped, I watched his form slowly flicker into view. This man was again unworthy to leave this place. Upon touching his corpse, his image violently distorted with red, but refused to leave. Is this the role I've been assigned? To wander this city alone, to only be greeted by those already dead, to assist the lucky few to the next life while I remain trapped here like one of the many damned. I do not believe all those doors I passed were truly locked. I believe I'm simply not allowed inside. No one will ever let me into their home unless there's a corpse inside. Death is not welcome amongst the living. Those footsteps clustered around the windows were people, watching the storm roll in, people whom I cannot see, people who cannot see me either, I'm sure, cannot offer me company or make me feel wanted. This is what I've hypothesized. And what did I do to deserve this fate? To become a lonely reaper of souls, to wander around endlessly in this haunted city with no one by my side. Must I endure this forever? Who has appointed me this task? This camera which I hold must contain the answer. I've got to take it out. I'll try to get as much shelter as I can. I can see it clearly now. The darkest, most horrible swirling mass of clouds I've ever seen. I'm watching it slowly warp and twist, the ground at its feet being churned to a pulp as if it were a sandbox. The sirens are blaring, and I don't think anyone is prepared for this thing approaching rapidly from within the haunted mist, wrapped in rain. I don't feel threatened out here, however, as the hideous column of blackened death bears down on me and this city. I don't feel a single hair stand up. As my hatred for this city grows, the weather system only seems to sicken and decay into further darkness. As my self-loathing grows, I feel the wind blow harder. I'm going to watch that footage. I don't think I can die. The footage on the video camera contained what I had come to suspect, instructions to what I've already learned. They appear to have been recorded by myself. I watch my own face voice the words, glancing behind into the darkness. I look nervous, yet wildly excited. I look to be surrounded by blood stained on the walls, faintly visible in a dim candle light. I look straight into the screen, my eyes filled with the disturbing wildness, as I assure myself my whole life has led up to this. I say that should I fail, I will die and my family will find this footage, deeming me a madman and taking this to be the deranged suicide tape of a serial killer. But after one last glance into the darkness behind me, the camera shakes with disturbed glee as I whisper into the mic that should I have succeeded, and I myself am watching this footage right now, I will have made myself God.